Alright guys, I am Tony K, this is UGSM. We're still living the dream, and we are going to do part 3, likely the last part, of Phyrexia All B1, the main set at least, the previews. I might do something for the Commander stuff. I want to start off with the Rat King. Uh, Look, we've got a couple of really cool cards over this, and then Jumpstart, the rat that came out there, and even Kamigawa Neon Dynasty gave us, I think, a couple of cool rats. Um, if you guys aren't looking into these decks, there's some cool things happening. Uh, Things like Rat Colony and Relentless Rats allow you to kind of break the one card rule in EDH. So don't overlook these cards. And it's actually pretty tough when you think about it for someone to completely nerf all of your creatures of one name like that in EDH. There isn't a ton of cards like that see play. There are a few, but you're not likely to run into those a lot. So there's a few cards in this section that are going to obviously be cheaper because we're at the bottom of the list. But I don't think that their price represents really how powerful they can be. For example, you get a bunch of your rats out, your rat colonies, they're all big buff creatures. You drop this bad boy, you figure out a way to give them trample or fear or something like that. And yeah, they only have Toxic 1, but between that and the damage they'll do, I mean, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. So, just saying. Was really surprised there's already Planeswalkers. That's how you know there's too many Planeswalkers in a set. Is that when at pre-release pricing, they're this cheap. I think there's a couple up here, right? Yeah. So when they're this cheap, it's not just that they're not great, because I think like Kaya's not terrible. Again, 7 mana. I know it's a lot, but it's not terrible. Yeah. Up next, we got Marion Safe House. As long as that card is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all land cards in all graveyards. EDH players. I know there's some of you out there. That are like, oh man, I have this friend who plays a lot of utility type of lands. Boom. Boom. And you can get some good value out of this. I mean, it's in all graveyards, so even if you're playing a lot of cards that are heavy into the lands with activated abilities, you can get some good value out of this. And it's already technically under $1 by what MTG Goldfish has, so that could be a 25-cent rare real quick. Keep that in mind. Moving on down, check it out. Got us a Hero of the Bladehold legendary creature version. Not too bad, right? Vran Executioner Thane. This is a card that I honestly just wanted to say, if this didn't have this last sentence, this card I feel like would be bonkers. Whenever one or more other creatures you control die, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. But again, only triggers once each turn. Excuse me. That to me is definitely enough to say, like, whew, we avoided one, but whew, if that one sentence isn't there, whew. Alright, I talked about Izuri, Stalker of Spheres, in a TikTok short that I made, and I'm surprised that it's that cheap. Malaria the Living Cure, not even close to as good as the original Malaria. If you have a deck that you can slot both of them into, I guess, but ugh, this thing is rough. Moving on down, again, more of these full art lands, just great. I'm not going to go into every aspect of it, but if you are playing Rakdos, and you have one of those, like the Judith Rakdos deck, this is something you might want to look into. The Crucible Goliath reads, for 4 mana, you get this legendary creature, Phyrexian Beast, 4/4, yada yada. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary creature card with lesser mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is that I've already seen some people talking about ways to loop this, combo it off, things like that. And for 4 mana in those colors, I don't necessarily know if this is going to be your commander. I mean, I certainly believe it could be if it's going to be an integral part of your combo piece. But the fact that I've already seen conversation of how to loop this and abuse it intrigues me. It intrigues me. Just bare minimum, it intrigues me. And then finally, Ovika. The Enigma Goliath, 7 mana. I feel like there's a lot of 7 mana coming for me in these videos. Legendary creature, Phyrexia Nightmare flying. Ward 3, you guys know I love Ward 3, pay 3 life. You know I love the Ward ability. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens, where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until end of turn. The reason that this card actually excites me, besides the fact that it's hard to look past the 7 mana, and the fact that it's a non-creature spell, and I'm getting the red goblins, there's no restrictions on them blocking. I don't really care about the toxic, because I'll trade that. I'll trade the toxic and blocking for haste and keeping them. So these don't get exiled. They don't go anywhere unless they die, you know, from combat or board wipes or whatever. I just thought this was a really, really awesome card. And again, 7 mana, that's really expensive in EDH to consider for a commander. If you have ways to cheat it out, maybe. So it hurts the cause for sure. But it's still a card that I'm gonna pick up at least a single copy of and try to tinker with it a bit, because it has some built-in protection. Actually, that protection is pretty strong when you look at it. 3 mana and 3 life. So, alright guys, that's the end of this video. I'll look at the commander cards and maybe do another one. I appreciate you guys so much, and we will see you next time.